What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today you got a brand new video with Bitcoin because it had a pretty good week here. A nice move up in price, up over $30,000. Recently fell down a little bit, but actually is still above 30,000 right now. So some good things going on. Still growth in the network and a little bit of news. But if we just look at Bitcoin's chart right here, we can see that we've got just the simple moves. Everything that is to be expected, kind of staying in this range of 27k to 33k. We've got to this line right here, 32, 31. So $32,331, and we got up, and you see twice we kind of got rejected from it, and then finally this bigger push down on a day with a lot of weakness around the stock market too. And then we're back up over 30 right now, hovering at 30,200. So the stock market, looking good. Had a good day today. So reflected with Bitcoin as well. But we have these moves up. We were at 28k super lows, and then a nice kind of rally up here. So we have a week now with an uptrend. We can look the past week, and we're pretty much trending up. The bottom around 28,000, and we see it just keeps getting higher and higher. Even these lows, higher lows every single day, except for this one day where we stuck in this range here, but we got higher lows. So that is a good thing. Higher lows, even higher highs if we go back to this time. So all in all, short time frame, a little bit better, not looking absolutely terrible, but we do want to look at just kind of the overall thing here, just doing what we expected, staying sideways. And I think we're in for a longer term sideways move here until finally either something in the macro environment is better and gets better so that there's not so much fear, or something changes. So we're probably stuck in this range below 32k, above 28k, until something, either the stock market rallies and things rally out, or the macros change and things get better. But either way, something's going to change to where Bitcoin pumps up. And I think this compression shows that the move up will probably be a pretty big one. And for some other things going on in Bitcoin, the network still doing great. We saw a bit of a downturn here, which might explain kind of a correlation with this down move here earlier, but then the hash rate recovered here. And that could be, we know the hash rate and the price are tied in at least a little bit. So seeing hash rate go up is good for the price. Hash rate go down, usually not so good for the price. So this recent dump in hash rate with a pretty quick recovery could be reflected in the price here. We saw this move down, but it was a quick recovery. And now the price doesn't always do what the hash rate does, and vice versa. But we're seeing, this dump might have had a reason to do for the dump in Bitcoin's price. And then we saw this rally again, and Bitcoin rallied, ended up dumping off of that a bit, but still over 30k. So it's a little correlated, not exactly correlated, but this does still show for the network that Bitcoin still growing. So even though the price isn't at the best point, it's not all-time highs, the network just reached all-time high hash rate recently, and then obviously coming back, and it's just the growth of the network still there. We go to raw values, we can see still growth 30-day. We can still see this just up and to the right, longer term kind of. This is what the hash rate does. It has big moves up, and longer term we see kind of a move down or sideways in the 30 days, so the monthly average, and continuing to move up. It could be what we're seeing now. This move up, a little bit of down to sideways, and then continuing moving up as more people start mining Bitcoin. And there's news all the time of people joining mining Bitcoin and doing that for flared gas and whatever else it could be. And even the longs and shorts data is bullish for Bitcoin. We have a little increase in shorts for 8%, but 2,000 shorts, which is a lot more shorts than normal, but 87,000, almost 88,000 longs. And we can see that longs here over the last 2 weeks have just been exploded in value. Had a little move down here, but then exploded again. So shorts, a different story where they kind of were staying steady, exploded, and then drew down big, kept going down, and now they're kind of rising a little bit. But the longs absolutely just up and to the right. This is more, it's down. It's even down from 2 weeks ago, so 29.14 to what it's at right now, 22. So it's down from the 2 weeks ago. It's not rising from like a longer period where we look at this and we can see it's just up and to the right. Longs, people are very interested in longing Bitcoin and not shorting it, especially when you look at the downside Bitcoin has. If we go to Bitcoin's chart and go to weekly, we have records for Bitcoin's weekly chart. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks in a row red for Bitcoin. The first time ever in Bitcoin's history that it's gone down 8 weeks in a row. So how much longer can this go on? How much longer is it going to go down? That's questions people got to ask. And if you're shorting, is this risk to reward worth it for you? For it's 8 weeks in a row down. Eventually, it's going to be green, and you've had such a streak of it going down. And this week looks like it could be the week where it doesn't have a down week. If we stay over 30K, it is a week that would end green, and shorts would not like that. And then same story for longs. Obviously, you see this, and you see eventually it's got to reverse at least a little bit, at least a relief rally, so you can long it and hope for that relief rally. And also, we all know Ray Dalio's video that came out a while ago. I think like maybe close to a month ago now, or a few weeks at least. And we had this picture from Ray Dalio's video where it was the superpowers and global reserve currencies that happened. And we know that they all kind of reach a peak and then come down, something else replaces it. And that's what we're kind of looking with Ray Dalio's stuff here. But in Ray Dalio's one, this Bitcoin is a Chinese flag. So it's China on the upcome to the US, which you can make arguments for that. For China being the global reserve currency, I don't know if you can make a big argument for that, because I don't know if other countries would trust China to audit themselves and put out all their numbers and kind of be open to everyone going through their stuff, which what you kind of have to do to be the global reserve currency. You have to be completely open with your books and stuff. China doesn't want that. So the next big thing here would be Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin on the up? Is Bitcoin something that could come up, be a global reserve currency, and completely change the game with no ruling country over it, where global currencies only last, I think, like 200 years or something before they ultimately collapse? That's the average time they last. Could Bitcoin break that because it's solely not controlled by one country, and break the cycle of reserve currencies last 200 years, someone else comes over and takes the reserve currency, but Bitcoin come up and just be the reserve currency for the rest of the time? Possibility. I think you're kind of crazy if you think there's no chance at all that Bitcoin could do anything globally. That's literally what it is. And even Kevin OLeary thinks that, saying Bitcoin will be the reserve currency of the world. So we all know, big investor, Shark Tank, but he has been a critic of Bitcoin, not a critic anymore. He's like Bitcoin, like crypto, but he says, recognizes Bitcoin will be the reserve currency of the world. It makes so much sense for it to happen. So Bitcoin's global. Bitcoin isn't controlled by anyone. No one can kick you out of the system. That's a huge thing. We saw with Russia and everything. No matter what you think, whoever you want to support, the US can control who is on and who is off the SWIFT system. If China becomes the global reserve currency country or superpower country, then they can control who can and can't operate globally. So an answer would be Bitcoin that can't control. No one can kick you off. You can always act globally and interact globally, which is a big thing. I think a lot of people discount that. It's a pretty big thing. And we see the Canadian Bitcoin ETF has been aggressively accumulating. So, I mean, people in the Canadian market have been buying. They don't just go out and buy it, but 13,000 Bitcoin in 6 weeks added. That's massive accumulation. You can just see them up and to the right since they launched, just holding tons of Bitcoin. They are holding about 40,000 Bitcoin. And this is an ETF, so people are buying in. It's people's money. It's not like this own Canadian ETF just buying Bitcoin. This is people buying it in an ETF form, holding the ETF, doing all of that. So it's pretty good. We see the adoption coming through. Even though the price is in the greatest spot, people still accumulate. People are still buying. Hardcore holders will just keep buying and holding. And then eventually demand comes back, or there's just so much people buying and holding that there's not supply out there, and the price has to go up to reflect that. So ultimately, Bitcoin in a pretty good position, fundamentally at least, with the price. We know and expect it to go up. You're going to feel great when it's at 32, 33K, and it could easily swing down to 29, 28K, and it's going to feel terrible when it's down there. but this is just kind of the cycle we're on, trading sideways for a bit, waiting for macros to be better, for financial conditions to be better, and just kind of hovering around 30K after 80,000 Bitcoin were dumped on the market with the Luna problem and everything else going on. I would say that's not too bad. That's pretty good. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you in my next video.